Hello everyone and welcome back to our Knowledge Bytes channel and our AWS AI Practitioner complete course series. In our previous videos, we learned about the artificial intelligence, machine learning and responsible AI and AI ethics. But today we are going to answer one of the most important questions in AI, that is, how does a machine actually learn? Right? The answer begins with something called a neural network. So neural networks are the foundation of the model deep learning and the power many of the AI applications we use every day, including ChatGPT, image recognition system, recommendation engines, and voice assistants, and even self-driving cars. So by end of this video, so you will understand what neural networks are, how they are work, and they are how it is important for today's AI world. Let's get started. Now, so before neural networks, computers rely on the traditional programmings, right? In traditional programming software, so human writes the explicit rules. For example, if the age is greater than 18 and classified as an adult, if score is greater than 50 or 35, classified as a pass. Right? This works well for the simple problems, but imagine trying to write rules for the recognizing the human face, or understanding the speech, or driving a car, or generating a human-like text. The number of rules become anonymous. So in many cases, it practically impossible to write such rules, right? So to resolve this problem, researchers developed neural networks. So instead of programming every rule, we allow machines to learn patterns directly from the data. And that's what makes neural networks so powerful. So next, how it is so inspired from the human brain. So the idea behind the neural networks comes from the human brain. Our brains contains billions of neurons connected together. Each neuron receives signals and processes information and sends signals to the other neurons. When millions of neurons work together, we can recognize face, understand the language, make decisions, and learn from the experience. Artificial neural networks follow the similar patterns or concepts. They are not actually brain, but they don't think like a human, but they imitate the way neurons connected and process the information. So the inspiration led researchers to create artificial neurons that works together to learn patterns from the idea. Let's get into the next one, but is what is an artificial neuron? So let's zoom into the smallest building block of the neural network, which is this building block is called the neuron. So an artificial neuron performs three simple tasks. First one, if you look at this diagram, for the first one, it receives the input, and the second one, it processes those input, and third, it produces an output. Think of a neuron as a tiny decision maker. Individually, a single neuron isn't very powerful, is it? But when you thousands or even millions of neurons works together, they can resolve incredibly complex problems. Every modern AI system is ultimately built using these tiny artificial neurons. And let's get into the structure of a neural network. So the neural network usually contains three types of layers. So the first layer is called the input layer. This layer receives the raw data, example including the images or text or audio or customer information and the sensor data. So everything will get the inputs from there. And the second layer is called the hidden layer, which this is where real processing happens. Hidden layer analyzes the data, identify the patterns, and extract the meaningful information. The neural networks may contain one hidden layer or many hidden layers right? So finally we have an output layer. The output layer produces the final predictions. For example, the email spam or not, the image which is provided, the image which is dog or cat, or the loan approval application with it's approved or rejected. So should I approve or should I reject it? So that prediction can be done in the final stage of that. The most hidden layers are the more complex patterns the network can learn. That's why the deep learning system often contains many hidden layers. Next, get into one example. We learn with the one example. So let's understand this, the practical example. Imagine we want to build a system that identifies the spam in email. The neural networks receive the information such as like number of the links in the email, or suspicious words, or unknown sender, or urgency phrases, or special offers. These features become the inputs. The hidden layer analyzes the patterns across thousands or millions of emails. So finally, output layer predicts whether this email is a spam or not. What's remarkable is that we never manually write such rules. 3 lines meaning spam, or suspicious sender is a spam. We don't write every rule, right? So instead of, neural networks learns those patterns automatically from the data. So how learning happens? That's where important questions where we are going to learn. Now let's answer an important question that everyone knows. Everyone asks this. Everyone have this question where how does a neural networks actually learn? The learning processing happens 4 major steps. The step 1 is the the network makes a prediction, and step 2 is it compares the predictions with the actual answer, and the step 3 it calculates the error. So step 4 it adjusts itself and reduce the error. So then the process repeats again and again, thousands of times, sometimes millions of times. So over the time the network gradually improves, because it learns from the mistakes and it reduces the error and again. So just like human learn through the practice and feedback, like neural networks also improve through the repeated training and the corrections. The entire process is called training. The goal is simple: reduce error and improve the predictions. So let's take real world applications. The neural networks are very everywhere around us. So we took many examples in the previous videos as well. For example, let's take this image recognitions. We used by smartphones or security systems and the social media. So wherever you see the image recognition systems, our speech recognition system, which is used by the Alexa, Siri, Google Assistants, these are the part of our daily lives, right? And natural language processing system, which is used by the ChatGPT, translation systems, or chatbots, right? Recommendation system, used by the Amazon, Netflix, YouTube, and Spotify. So wherever, if you go to the Amazon, you will get the product recommendations based on your last history or last product the purchases, right? The same way the YouTube, if you go to the YouTube, you will see always whatever recommended based on the videos, right? Recommended videos. So, and the last one is the self-driving cars, used by recognizing the roads or traffic signals and obstacles. That's right. And healthcare system. The fifth one is the autonomous vehicle system, and the sixth one is the healthcare system, which is used to detect the diseases and analyze medical images and support doctors. In fact, many technologies we use daily are powered by the neural networks behind the scene. So now, neural network in action, meaning let's look at the another example. Like suppose we show the network a picture of the dog. So if you give the picture, which is dog, then how it will get processed? The image is converted to the numbers. Those numbers are processed to the neural network, and the hidden layer analyzes those patterns, and the output layer generates the probabilities. For example, the dog maybe 91% is the probability of, the cat is maybe 7% of the probability, or bird are 1% of the probability, or car is a 1% of the probability. The highest probability is the dog. That's where the predictions can happen, and finally it predicts that okay, it's a dog. This process happens in a milliseconds. So, and with enough training data, the predictions become extremely accurate, right? So let's assume So maybe if you provide the different image, which is the dog is just walking on the beach or sitting on the beach, then how it is going to be recognized? Whether should it recognize the ocean, or should it recognize the dog, or should it recognize the beach? So there is a confusion because it's based on the training data again. So if you feed the AI with a different input layer with the different the training data, and then it will over the time it will learn and it will identify the right objects. So that way. Now let's get into the how this topic is going to be covered in the in the exam. So now let's understand this. So the question is, which statement best describes a neural network? A database used to store AI information. So a collection of the interconnected processing units that learns patterns from the data. A cloud service used to host applications. A programming language used to artificial intelligence. So from A, B, C, D, let's, as I gave the tip in last videos, so let's understand, break out the question first. Let's understand the keywords from the question. The keyword is neural network. So we should, by this time we are able to understand what is a neural network, right? So let's take the question A, and a database used to store information. This is talking about, this answer is talking about the storage. We never talked about the storage, and this neural networks is not about the storage, so we can eliminate this answer. Let's comes to the C, a cloud service used to host application. This is talking about the deployment process. Neural network doesn't talk about the deployment process, then we can eliminate these answers too. And then last one is a programming language. The answer is about the programming language. Neural networks doesn't talk about the programming language, then the answer B is the right answer, which is a neural network is a collection of interconnected artificial neurons that learns patterns from the data and makes predictions. This is very common concept tested in the AWS AI Practitioner exam. What are the key takeaways? Let's summarize what we have learned so far. Neural networks are inspired by the human brain. They are made up of artificial neurons, and the neural networks contains the input layer, hidden layer, and the output layer. They learn patterns from the training data, and they improve through the repeated training and feedbacks. They power many modern AI applications, including the image recognition system, or speech recognition system, or recommendation systems, or healthcare AI and generative AI. The most important thing, neural networks from the foundation of the deep learning. Let's come to the closing. Today we explored one of the most important concepts in artificial intelligence, that we learned what neural networks are, why they are created, how they are learned from the data, how they power real world applications. But remember, a neural network starts with a single neuron. So in the next episode we are going to deep dive into the perceptron and understand how the single artificial neuron makes decisions. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe to our Knowledge Bytes channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss episodes from our AWS AI Practitioner journey. Right? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in next video.